This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is Thursday, the 20th of June, 2024. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is news to 6 a.m. on News Power Digital. The Oilfield Workers Trade Union is inviting Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley and Minister of Energy and Energy Industry Stuart Young to a national debate on the closure of Petrotrin and the refinery which took place on November 30th, 2018. OWTU President General Ansel Roger made the request while speaking during Labor Day celebrations at Charlie King Junction yesterday, Wednesday. On Monday, the Prime Minister met with the chairman of the Jidan Steel and Power Limited at the Diplomatic Center, Naveen Jindal. The office of the Prime Minister says Jindal Steel and Power is one of India's leading business houses with a substantial presence in steel, mining, power, and infrastructure. Staying with Labor Day, Public Services Association President Leroy Batiste has declared war on the People's National Movement at Labor Day celebrations yesterday. Batiste said the crowds gathered at Charlie King Junction in Faizabad, quote, "Do you agree we should engage the UNC in meaningful discussions and negotiations? Question mark. Comrades, I know it is hard because I know some people have never said UNC in their lives. I understand that," end quote. Batiste accused the PNM of not engaging trade unions in negotiations and said the PSA cannot negotiate with the government. It should start discussing plans with the next government. Batiste, who mounted the platform at the Labor Day rally, chanted, "Vote them out." From PSA members noted that 2025 was right around the corner, and based on the attendance yesterday, they could make or break a government. Chance of Rowley must go further the statement. There were some shocked reactions expressed in the crowd and on stage to the PSA leader's statements. Public Utilities Minister Marvin Gonzalez has apologized to Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Water and Sewage Authority, Kelvin Romaine, following an inaccurate newspaper article published Tuesday, stating his tenure was being terminated. Gonzalez says that the claims that the acting CEO was being sent home were patently untrue. He apologized to Romaine for any embarrassment the newspaper article may have caused and expressed hope the newspaper would take the opportunity to do the same. Minister of Tourism Randall Mitchell said it recognized and praised the contribution of the late Marlon Bique for his contributions toward the modernization, stability, and efficient operations of Naparim Bowl. Tourism Minister Mitchell said Mr. Bique was not simply a cultural enthusiast, but he embodied it. He added his dedication to promoting and positively contributing to the industry started during his school days as a performer at the Presentation College Mixed Choir. Attorney Nizam Mohammed, who on Monday was bypassed to be promoted to the rank of senior counsel, said the stench from the process, he will never reapply. 13 lawyers were awarded silk by President Christine Kangaloo during a ceremony at President's House on Monday. Last week, Mohammed's name was on a list circulating on social media in relation to the award of silk. Mohammed said there were two lists, one from the Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago and the other from the judiciary. However, he said his name, which headed both, was deleted. He said he will not humiliate himself and never reapply to become a senior counsel. Hundreds of Muslims who journey to Mecca, Saudi Arabia for the annual Hajj pilgrimage have reportedly died, possibly due to intense heat. The estimated 200 Muslims from Trinidad and Tobago who participated are safe, reported Imtiaz Mohammed, director of Hajj, Umrah, and International Tours Limited. In an interview with the media yesterday, Mohammed said more than 200 people from TNT had journeyed to Mecca and all are accounted for. He said their group comprises 137 people. There's another group of possibly 50 to 60 people, just over 200 people in Trinidad, but they are all fine. The Associated Press reported yesterday hundreds of people have died during this year's Hajj pilgrimage, which saw Muslims facing high, intense temperatures in Mecca. AP said one list circulating online suggested at least 550 people died during this year's Hajj. AP News reported temperatures on Tuesday reached 47 degrees Celsius, 117 Fahrenheit in Mecca and in sacred sites in and around the city, according to the Saudi National Center for Meteorology. Ecuador is hit with a national blackout. The incident left 18 million people without power. Public Works Minister Roberto Luque blamed the power cut and the breakdown of the transmission line, but the government said 95% of the country's electricity power supply had been returned. And finally, the BBC is reporting families of victims in two Boeing 737 MAX plane crashes have asked for prosecutions in a fine of $24.8 billion for the deadliest corporate crime in U.S. history. The family's lawyer, Paul Cassell, said the amount was justified and clearly appropriate given the enormous human costs of Boeing's crimes. In a 32-page letter, Mr. Cassell said the U.S. government should prosecute those leading the company when 346 people were killed in two crashes in 2018 and 2019. And that is news to 6 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We'll have major news coming your way at 7 a.m. Good morning.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
Is 7 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock on this, the 20th day of June. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on Power 102 Digital. It is the Power Breakfast Show. Of course, our studio is at 88 to 90 Abercrombie Street in Port of Spain. Of course, 26 degrees at both Piarco and at Crown Point in Tobago. Traffic-wise, I just got some volume going through the usual Trinidad City from the interchange to past Arangua, Zelskoro, and that's it. Nothing really to tell you about east, west, north, or south. All right? Let me say good morning, good on to you, Dr. Paul Richards. What's happening?
Morning, Steve. Good morning, everyone.
Morning. How was your Labor Day holiday?
Work intensive.
Well, I got a little rest. That was it.
Good for you.
I got a little rest.
I got some rest too, but it was a day for work.
I took a doze yesterday afternoon and I catch my hee-haw to go back to bed last night. I was just watching a movie and I fell right asleep. And was a strong sleep.
Your camera feed went.
What do you mean? Hold on.
It came off. Your camera feed came offline.
Oh, it says something went wrong. Try again. Okay, let's try again. Yeah, I got bumped off somewhere. Okay. All right. Well, let's see who sent us hellos first thing this Thursday morning, this pre-Friday. Of course, for those in North America, it is the first day of your summer. And of course, tomorrow is full moon. All right. So there you go. All right, let's see. Oliver Man Warren, good morning. DJ Ray in Delaware. Wendy and James, got Celia in Valencia. Wayne B in Covenant, Georgia. D. Pierre, Ray out in West Palm Beach, Florida. Maria Celia. Boy Badesi out in Debe. Rena Boodoo Jennings. Carol Guevara. Joycelyn Dialsing. Herda Well. Oops. I got bumped off here too. Okay. Let's see. Herda Wells wanted to say happy birthday. I would like to wish my friend Patty a happy birthday. Okay, Patty. Happy birthday to you. CJ New York. Alistair Hart. Showin Kerr. Good morning to you. Gloria Gray. Hector. Miss Ingrid in Tucson, Arizona. Michael Robinson in Yokohama, Japan. David Wares. And of course, Mrs. Wares, David Wares is saying, guys, so sorry to hear about Marlon. Condolences to his family, yes. Carl Jack, Mo Gaines, John Cato, Wayne Ramsey, Brent Sylvester, Brenda Isaac, Roland Bahadur, yeah, okay. Evans David, Trinidad, Margot in Florida, Shima Paul, Candice Pascal, DL, a lot of messages there. Of course, on WhatsApp, we have good morning from Northern England. Who is sending that? Put your name next to it, please. That way it's easier for me. Vincent. Thank you so much, Vincent. GNC Auto Security, David Nelson, Dan Rad, Sankofa, Michael out in London. and some people send us messages via WhatsApp. Thank you, Vincent. Appreciate that. Yes. Of course, let us say a speedy recovery going out to one of our colleagues, Gary Camejo. Not feeling too well, so get better, my friend.
Speedy recovery, Gary. Condolences to
I went
the
looking for him
family.
yesterday.
Condolences to the family, friends, fans of Marlon the Bique, thespian Marlon the Bique, who, I mean, shockingly to everyone, passed away. I
Young
think
fella.
if it's not yesterday, it's the day before yesterday. He was
Yesterday,
hospitalized
yeah.
for a couple of days at the San Fernando General Hospital, and it sent shockwaves through the theater community.
Mm-hmm.
Really shocking. He's 45, just 45 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Minister of Tourism, Culture and the Arts, Randall Mitchell, also sent his condolences via social media and thanked him for his service and sent condolences to his family, friends, and colleagues. I mean, everybody was in shock yesterday. I was really in shock. So made a couple of calls, and my understanding is that he had a kidney issue.
Yikes.
Deteriorated, and was hospitalized, wasn't feeling well, and passed, unfortunately. Really sad news over the weekend to the theater community. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, young fella at 45.
Yeah, relatively young.
Yeah.
18-year-old wouldn't think so, but 45 is very young.
No, the 18-year-old will get there eventually.
If they're lucky.
If they're lucky.
If they're lucky. So it was really kind of shocking yesterday to hear that from as early as 6, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, I was snoring.
So that was the thing. And of course, yesterday was Labor Day, so all the pilgrimages to Charlie King Junction in Faizabad with the normal challenges to the government. You see Leroy Batiste jump out and declared war on the People's National Movement. He said that he asked a question, should you, and this is the question he asked the crowd, should we engage the UNC in meaningful discussions and negotiations? Comrades, I know it's hard because I know some of people have never said UNC in their lives. He understands that. There was a mixed reaction to this call in the crowd. While some joined him and saying, vote them out, Rowley must go, some of others seem to have expressed shock, according to the newspaper report.
Yeah. I listened to that last night on news, and I'm going,
Isn't this a typical cycle now?
You know, I didn't want to say it, you know. It doesn't matter who is in power.
Sips
We
coffee.
always like to join with the opposition.
Sip
It doesn't
coffee.
matter who's in power.
Do they remember what that last experiment was like?
I'm trying to remember myself.
Not that I'm saying they shouldn't if they so desire.
I mean, vote whoever you want.
What whoever they want, but that last experiment didn't work out too well.
Yeah. Whoever is the opposition, they always like to go, oh, yes, come.
Well,
we
in
give you an open
2020,
arms.
there was an accommodation with 5 political entities, is it? Including the People's, which formed the People's Partnership Government, which included Labour.
Yeah,
David Abdullah was part of the People's Partnership at the start,
correct.
representing a significant portion of Labour.
Correct.
Was he the first one to leave, opt out?
That I can answer.
It was the UNC, the COP, the TOP in Tobago, Abdullah, who was he representing at the time? I can't remember who he was representing. And NJAC, MSG, yeah, right,
MSG.
and NJAC,
Yeah.
who formed the People's Partnership. And one by one, until the trees stood alone. So, Jason Aaron McLeod was the Minister of Labour. He came from Labour, so.
Yeah, he came from Labour. Yeah, that's true.
But I know the disaffection with any government in power tends to bring people together.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how it goes. But this we've heard this song before.
Yeah, we've heard that
And
same old
it
carol.
usually starts to play a year or two out of an election. So
Yeah, that's
we
silly
shall see how it
next
goes.
year. That's silly season next year. Whew.
We shall see how it goes.
Start already.
You know, I saw Dr. Rudal Monilal, pictures of Dr. Rudal Monilal at Charlie King Junction, holding hands and hugging and that sort of stuff. So the United National Congress didn't waste the opportunity to engage Labour.
Oh no, they didn't.
Well, I mean, that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to see what. So it'll be quite interesting because 2015 and 2020 didn't the UNC go it alone? Somebody remind me. I think they went it alone, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, remind us.
Yeah, 2015 and 2020, both of which times the PNM emerged victorious. Won the 2020 with one seat less, which is that, if I'm not mistaken, that Maruga seat that Gypsy ran. The PNM emerged victorious, but the UNC went it alone. So let's see how it goes.
Let's see how it goes.
If that is the situation this time around, there also there's also the potential, because the UNC is now past their NATEX elections, for other parties. I mean, at one point, didn't Philip Alexander say he was willing to work with the UNC, and certainly the NTA has been making overtures, and they had an accommodation with the UNC during the local government election, a partnership of sorts, and then now Labour. So let's see if this means that they're coalescing towards some sort of amalgam heading to 2025.
Amalgam.
But it's amalgamation, coalition. The thesaurus is quite wide.
True.
Let's see how this eventually works out. And I saw the phrase quoted in the newspaper this morning: "The enemy of my enemy is my friend," which is a phrase that is very applicable to our politics leading up to the election.
Mm-hmm.
They may not have common ground in between, in betwixt, but certainly as they get closer and closer to a general election, you see unlikely forces coming together. Because then there's one mission, and that's usually to get rid of the incumbent. The PNM, on the other hand, has always gone it alone, has always stated emphatically that they will not be in any accommodation with anyone, at least heading into an election. And they've always gone it alone. So we will see. I mean, as we said earlier, when people have the right to join with whom they want and vote for whom they want and support who they want, that's the democratic process.
Yeah.
But history is an interesting teacher. That's all. History is quite an interesting teacher, and it'll be interesting to see if an accommodation is formed. If it's a more well thought out accommodation, because the one in 2010 was quite hurriedly put together on the eve of that snap election called by the late Patrick Manning, which proved successful, But we'll see. None of this surprises me.
No,
it
doesn't surprise. I don't think it surprise anybody.
Textbook politics 101. So I'm not surprised, and I guess that's what an opposition is kind of supposed to do: see who else has issues with the government and align, even if not officially, unofficially. So we shall see. So none of what I saw and heard yesterday on Labor Day in Faizabad surprised me. It's kind of, we have the jukebox on lineup, so the playlist.
That playlist is on standby.
It's on standby.
Yeah.
Right. Ansel Roger, who is the president of the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, has challenged Dr. Keith Rowley, the Prime Minister, and Energy and Energy Industries Minister Stuart Young to a national debate on the closure of Petrotrin. Now, I saw circulating on social media, I don't know if it's actually true, but they had there were some articles linking the chairman of Jindal Steel and Power Limited, who had a meeting with the Prime Minister earlier this week, Naveen Jindal, with some corruption investigations. And I think one of the newspapers had an expose yesterday stating that the Prime Minister said, somebody asked him, the Prime Minister that is, if you know about these allegations or these investigations into Mr. Jindal, and I think the answer was he didn't know. So, you know, you can't talk to nobody these days, you know, because they're going to dig up. Another
Even
bit
if
of
he knew about
erroneous.
it, he's not going to say it.
Sorry?
Even if he knew there were some allegations hanging over his head, he's not going to say, yes, I know.
Come on. Well, I didn't know he had some corruption investigation, but I still hosted a meeting with him. What are you going to say? Though?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm just having a meeting. That's all.
And I always have people, allegations, you know. Think about the allegations in Trinidad and Tobago alone. Over the last 30, 40 years. Allegations are allegations. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see.
It will be.
Another bit of erroneous reporting has been corrected by the Minister of Public Utilities. Big front page. WASA CEO should be fired or something of that order.
To be axed.
To be axed or something like that. Big front page. Big front page. You know, and that doesn't, remember, very often when you say I see it in the papers or I see it in the news, I say, Steve, you sure about that?
Kelvin Romaine, they say. To be
axed. Definitively, you know, not to be axed question mark, eh?
Yeah.
To be axed statement.
Yeah.
So the Minister of Public Utilities, Marvin Gonzalez, has come out and apologized to the acting Chief Executive Officer of WASA, Mr. Kelvin Romaine.
Yeah,
for
nice.
An inaccurate newspaper article published on Tuesday stating that his tenure was being terminated. The minister said that is nothing further from the truth has been published, and that while the management at WASA is being restructured, that particular statement by the newspaper was not true. Now, how you get to the stage where you put it on your front page and you press print,
or submit, or whatever the case may be.
Press print. You gotta press a button to start the press rolling.
Isn't it? I mean, I'm not. I don't know anything about print and how it works. Well, I have an idea, but so Paul Richards writes a story, and it just goes to print, or does it have to go through? Okay, let me send this to the editor.
Well, first of all,
I don't know.
Writing a story needs to have more than 2, preferably 3 sources to verify the information.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase that. More than 2, preferably 3 credible sources.
Right.
Because it has sources and it has sources.
But isn't it double check before they hit print?
And then you go to your editor who says, are you sure about this? Yes. Then if it's a controversial story, which may open the newspaper to legal action, it goes to the attorneys.
Right.
They say, okay, this is okay. We say we are relatively safe ground with this. Then it goes to the editor-in-chief. And then the press, then it's sent to the person who compiling to say whether it's front page, second page, third page, fourth page, big print, small print. The photographic editor will choose the correct picture that they feel is appropriate. And then it goes to, when the newspaper is completed, the layout person is involved and it goes to press. That's my understanding of it.
Wow.
In that whole process.
Not one person.
They're publishing too. Eh?
One more time.
That's why when we tell you, when you say, well, I saw it on social media, I saw it in the papers, I say, okay.
Yeah.
Skepticism is my middle name with media sometimes. It depends to be fair, it depends on the person who wrote the story, who has the byline. who is the author of the story, then I say, okay, this person has had a history of credible stories. This person, not so much. You understand? And as I always say, according to a newspaper publication. Which papers was it yesterday? I forget.
Oh, man, I have to check.
And it was a front page story. It's like, really? So isn't that person now capable of calling their attorneys and saying that this publication embarrassed me, reduced my credibility, brought me into odium in the public domain? And the next thing, is the newspaper going to publish an apology on the front page with the same prominence as the original story? Because the apology could be on page 42B.
In fine print. In font size 11.
Karen, what if the moon crashes into the earth tomorrow?
What?
You know? I mean,
Anyway, Trinidad has a new millionaire. Someone won $14.5 million.
Where they buy it? Tell me where I buy yesterday.
Gasparillo. Gasparillo.
And I was in Central Saturday buying lottery.
You didn't go Gasparillo?
Gasparillo. I went to Chigualas. I said, I ain't still in town. Tongue the window sell a lotto.
Yeah, one in
that place.
Yeah. Invested wisely.
Don't tell your family.
No, don't tell your family.
Don't tell your family. Don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody. But congratulations to you.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were other several minor winners.
Let me check here for you. There was, let's see, nobody won 5 numbers. 11 people won 4 numbers of $4,500. 16 players matched $1,500. 32 won the $750. 126 won $250. 106 won $75. 409 won $25. $15. 1060 people. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
People just try to rationalize bad reporting. What if it is true?
Yeah, true.
Oh, God.
Let me say good morning going out to Mr. Haynes, the father of Anita Haynes. Avid listener to the Power Breakfast Show. Good morning to you. Hope you're well.
Good morning, Mr. Haynes. Well done. You raised a wonderful young woman.
I had to laugh because she, Anita messaged me on Tuesday and said, let me find it. There's something about when we were talking about, she looked sad.
She did look sad to me.
That's that she looked sad.
I'm not saying she was sad. I said she wasn't her usual enthusiastic.
Yeah. And she said her father called her one time. Are you sure you're okay? You all right? He called. He was in a panic to find out she was really sad.
She didn't be joyous because they didn't win, but but to me it looked like she had the win knocked out of her sail a bit.
Yeah, she said she was just tired. She said she spent over 5 minutes letting him know that she was good. Okay. That was a good.
We didn't mean to panic you, Dad.
Yeah, Dad. We didn't mean to panic you at all. So don't panic. She's a strong girl. You raised a wonderful daughter.
You did.
I understand one of your daughters is make a wicked chow. Mm-hmm.
Attorney at law, Nizam Mohammed, said he will never apply for silk again. He won't reduce himself. He said there is a stench from the process and he will never reapply. Well, there were several lists circulating before Monday, over the weekend. I got about 4 different lists. Now, most of the people on the list eventually got silk, to be fair. Okay. But I did see 2 lists with Mr. Mohammed's name on it. In relation to those who were purported to be getting silk. Now, Mr. Mohammed did not end up getting silk. He says, is it the Express or the Guardian this morning, that on the 2 lists, he is accrediting the lists, one to the Law Association and the other from the judiciary. Now, I haven't seen either of those bodies. The list I see had no logo or any organization claiming that they did the list. The list just had names. The two lists I see with his name on it. So with his name on it. So I didn't know that the law association, or I don't know that the law association or the judiciary are either likely to publish names, because that has not been the practice in the past. Right? You just wait until the president's house confirm, and that is how we generally know accurately who is to be awarded silk. Now, he says that he will not humiliate himself and he will never reapply to become senior counsel. And he's asking for an investigation, I'm paraphrasing here, as to what happened. Right? He said his information was that President's house was informed on Sunday and the list was incomplete. And while there was speculation that his name would be included, he said no such thing happened. And several of those who received silk were not on the list originally.
Yeah, he claimed that his name was on top of the original list of senior counsels.
I heard some names were on the list originally also.
And it was scratched off.
I don't know what happened. So I don't know if somebody scratched off. I don't know if it was there originally. I don't know. But silk is becoming quite controversial now. You know. Never a dull moment.
Yeah.
Yes, Hector, I did say the word allegation. Allegation. So, attorneys applying for silk are expected to be leaders in the profession, have sound intellectual ability, have up-to-date knowledge of the law in their fields, an outstanding ability to be advocates in the higher courts, have gained the respect of judges and other lawyers, have professional integrity, maturity of judgment, and at least 10 years experience. And I know actually two names on the list have had some controversy swirling around them, which I shall not articulate because they are now senior counsel, and I hear pretty back on
Yeah. Good morning to Mrs. R. Sheldon Pompey, Slick Money Grip, Rita Boodoo Jennings, Kevin Duke, Karen Yipnow, DL is in the house. Good morning to you. Evans David. Good morning to all those that send us messages while we were chatting. Maybe we should open up the lines now a little bit.
I would imagine so.
Yep. 222-8255. Those in North America that's celebrating the first day of summer, which commences at 4:50 this afternoon. You can call us at 866-525-1099. Good morning to Captain Ron, who's in Miami this morning. Hope you have a great day.
Let's say good morning to the 200 Muslims from Trinidad and Tobago who journeyed to Mecca for Hajj.
Yeah.
Yes, scorching temperatures. AP News is reporting 550 people have died during this year's Hajj from intense heat and symptoms associated with that. 47 degrees. 47. We just bought for 37.
We bought for 34, 35, much less. All right, let's grab this call. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm not familiar with this still thing. Is it that important?
Yes, it is.
Explain. I know Richard is there. It is?
Yes, it is to attorneys. It means that you've attained a higher level of proficiency and respect in the legal profession. And in many people's instances, now you can charge a lot more money.
Oh, God, don't talk about more money. Now, the money is already high. Another question. Mr. Gavin should have stayed off of that mail that the gentleman, he should not have come. Supposing he, and later did this, he have to send this gentleman home, and he now come and say, that.
First of all, I don't know that Minister Gonzalez sends anybody home. In the process,
No. The allegation was false, but what I'm trying to say, he should not have get involved in it. It come like Dr. Rowley was saying when he won the lotto, nobody was going to go home, and they did. So things like that, they should stay out of it and let the guy handling newspaper himself. You guys have a good day.
All right. I thought of you this weekend, Miss Sampson, with the I can bins that you're looking forward to in your area. And I was told there was a I can bin in West Moorings. And it was removed because some residents complained. That's all I will say with that. So they moved it out.
So 47 degrees in Mecca.
Yeah, that's
117 degrees Fahrenheit. Right now, Mr. Mohammed, MTS Mohammed, who is the director of Hajj, Umrah, and International Tours, who annually takes persons from Trinidad and Tobago, Muslims, to Mecca for the very sacred Hajj pilgrimage, said that his group comprises 137 people. And he said there's another group of approximately 50 to 60 people comprising in all just about 200 people from Trinidad and Tobago, but they're all fine.
Yeah. Good to hear. I know a couple of people that are on that trip.
They due back on the 28th, between the 28th and the 30th.
Friday.
You know, so when? Next week, Friday?
Yeah.
What? No, today's the 20th.
Yeah, so next Friday is the 28th.
How could it be?
If today is the 20th, today is Thursday.
Trusty calendar.
You go to the trusty calendar.
Steve is right. That's twice in 1 week.
Say it again. Say it again.
I need to retire here and done.
Yeah. Retire here and done.
I'll buy a roti for you today for that.
Oh God, please. Please.
Forgetting the date right. Ooh. Yeah, so 47 degrees is a lot. It is a lot. Because 37 makes us scream and bawl. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Carl M. Jack is saying it's 47 degrees in Baghdad. So that's a lot to deal with. And if you particularly if you're an elderly person or someone with some sort of medical issue, then 47 degrees could be life-threatening. It can be easily life-threatening.
Mm-hmm.
So the AP News is reporting 550 people died. Imagine that. But of course, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there are millions that go to the Hajj every year. So in some cases, there are large groups of people who are gathered at one place, in addition to those temperatures. So that must be extremely challenging, you know, but we wish them all a safe return home, and we hope the experience was wonderful for them all.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Let's grab some other calls coming through. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Ellie in the house.
Morning.
Good morning, Dr. Paul. Good morning, Mr. Steve Francis. How are you guys doing?
Not bad at all.
Pretty good.
Hey, Dr. Paul, that weather down there, that's real hot for you. See what's 47.
35 degrees, and we sweating pigs.
About 35, I think. You see what you think was 40 something?
47 degrees.
47
degrees is really hot.
That's like 100 that's like 140 something or 150 something.
117.
117. Ooh. 117, Ellie. Can you survive the temperatures of 117?
This, unfortunately, a lot of people were in the hotels or air-conditioned areas, but sometimes you have to go outside if you have to go.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Stephen, wherever you are, sir. Good morning to you, sir.
Stay listening somewhere. You seen about his turtles?
How you guys doing, man? You guys are sounding good. I always love to listen. When I wake up, it's like 3:40 something right now. So.
Yeah, 3:41 in your time in LA.
See how weird is no? It is before the summer, but I didn't even know that.
At 4:50 this afternoon, to be precise.
Okay. Because it have a heat wave going to the US right now too.
It have a heat wave and it have a tropical storm. Take your pick.
Yeah. That's it.
Alberto.
Anyway, Dr. Paul, how you doing, sir?
I am fine, thank you, sir, and your good self.
Oh, well, I'm there. Good. I'm good. Anyway, guys, locked on and listening as normal. You guys doing a wonderful job as normal. So you guys keep up the good work.
Thank you, Ellie.
Have a good day.
All the best to you. Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Yes. I've been listening to Mr. Ruji.
Mm-hmm.
And
Voluntarily?
pardon me?
Nothing.
Paul, behave.
Well. Boy, I know what to really say there, but this man,
I could have that.
something have to be wrong. Something it does make you feel all kind of thing. I have been in the same area. I lived in the same area with Mr. Roger from years as young fella. Go to schools in the same area and thing. And he always seemed to be a person with logic, good logic, and and when he buy first car and all kind of things, running and thing. I know him. I know him well. I was surprised. Surprised with what this man said. This term, politics have a morality of its own. The way he thinking here now, it seems that politics have no morality.
Why do you say that?
Morality of its own. It means that it has certain things that could.
Why do you say that, sir?
Well, the way, okay, the kind of way he operates with the UNC, the kind of things he went through with the UNC, with coalition and all kind of and all that kind of thing, and how the UNC treated the labor movement, and the kind of things that he would have said. I mean, to come back now to say the enemy and my enemies, I mean, if he has.
So how is that different to others who have said things about the UNC and Mrs. Pasalbi Sessa and are now extending olive branches? How is that different in the realm of politics? That is.
No, well, watch me. Gary and all these fellas into the same because Mr. Gary and are different. In my opinion, he is on a revenge at Dr. Rowley. Them fellas not business with country really,
The people have the right to align with whomever they feel to for whatever reason.
Of course, Mr. Richards. But I also reserve the right to comment as a citizen.
Absolutely. And that's what we're offering you the opportunity to do here.
Yes, you are. Yes, of course. I agree with you. I don't want to quarrel with you. I don't want to fight with you.
We're not quarreling. We're having a discussion.
Yeah, okay. But what's happening is that I just can't see what he's. I can't. If he say MSJ, I could still think with that. But the PNM mightn't be what you want it to be. But the standing that the PNM have this country in right now, and with things to come and the position to put that back in the hands of this man gonna be crazy.
And I'm sure there are many people who would disagree with you. But that's the wonderful thing about democracy.
There's a lot who will agree to.
Mm-hmm. And there are a lot who will agree with you.
Do you agree with me, Mr. Richard?
It's 6:44. It's a beautiful Thursday morning.
You're feeling like Bacchanal.
Good morning, Mr. Ragoobarsingh. Thank you for your sentiments, sir.
Yeah.
Good morning,
Excuse me a second, guys.
Good morning to our listeners, wherever you are. I was coming on in the car and my phone just refused to connect. So I could not connect to the show at all. The interesting thing that you were talking about the Hajj, and interestingly, when we were going to Tobago to do Love is a Walk, a lot of people who were heading, my assumption is, a lot of people who were heading to Saudi Arabia to Hajj were in the airport because there was a British Airways flight to go to London, and the airport was packed. I mean, it was. I don't think I've ever seen the airport so packed. It was packed. And what was happening? It was so packed and so noisy. The the announcements, the PA announcements of flights and stuff was not audible because there was so much ambient noise.
Yeah, buzz.
And you just couldn't hear what the announcements were saying. And I was like, I feel I have to fix these things, Paul. I don't know why I feel I have to fix these things, but I always feel I have to fix them. So I had to find somebody who works with the airport authority, and I say, because there is so much ambient noise, I think you need to tell the operators of the PA system that they need to increase the volume of the announcements. And maybe they need to pay attention and read the room, so to speak, for future reference. And the person said, okay, I'll tell them. I don't know if they did because I went to the big flight, but I just felt the need. I couldn't get on that flight without having to say something because it was just so noisy. All you were hearing was just in the background.
As in the airport you're talking about, right?
In the airport.
Yeah, but if you raise the volume, it's going to get worse. Because what happens is that when it comes to the speakers, there is no sound absorption. It's just bouncing off the walls, the glass, the tiles. So that is where
there's so many humans there, they absorb sound. Humans absorb sound.
Some, but it's still
so
they speak quickly, so it makes it extra difficult.
So, then they need to improve the quality of their PA system.
Well,
in 2024, you have all manner of audio systems that are more sophisticated than that.
Yeah.
But it could not be heard. You could not understand what the person was saying. You're just saying a murmur in the background because the airport was so packed. So packed.
That's what I was saying. Can we report to gate 5, please?
Yeah, because when we arrived, we were saying, oh my God, so many people going to Tobago. Because it was just endless people, and then we realized, wait, no, they're going on a flight in British Airways.
What would be nice is if, like, when you're in a North American, European airport, if your flight call will come up on your phone, we in there yet.
Yeah. Well, you could, I guess. You'd have to go to PRCO, the Airports Authority website, and look for departures and stuff like that. I mean, but you always have to pay attention anyway. You shouldn't be dependent on the announcement. But still, it's a good reminder, the boarding of so-and-so flight, whatever it is. And anyway, I assume it was resolved. Of course, I wasn't there to find out.
All right, your papers?
No, I don't.
Okay, let's run into the papers quickly.
I may have Guardian.
It is Thursday, the 20th of June.
I have Guardian.
Start with the Express. Vote them out. Rowley must go, UNC, and vote them out. Some of the chants rang out from hundreds of workers at Charlie King Junction yesterday during Labor Day celebrations. And of course, a lot of theatrics. A picture of Roger, apparently he sang his calypso, with a poster of Dr. Rowley and Stalin, a drum with Stalin bun them. So he was quite waxing theatrical yesterday. Nizam won't rule out freedom of information request in terms of his non-attainment of silk. Union leaders at Butler's gravesite call for an end to oppression. Of course, condolences to you, Richard, and the theater fraternity. Marlon the Bique passed away. Minister of Tourism. Randall Mitchell sent his condolences and spoke of his contributions to theater and the arts. 200 TT Muslims safe at Hajj despite intense heat. Nizam, not me again. And Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley expressed delight at the People's National Movement victory in the Lengua Indian Walk seat and his improved performance in the Kinam Mon Diablo seat, which eventually went to the UNC. So those are trending in your Express.
I could do the Guardian.
Mm-hmm.
So the Guardian front page for this morning. And of course, today is Thursday, June 20th. So the weekend begins tonight, people, at a second after midnight. I have to remind you. The headline, JTUM joins with UNC. Labor group working with opposition to remove PNM. Union leaders, Rowley must go. Roger announces plans for a national front alliance. All of that is on the front page. Actor and singer Marlon Bique dies, which was a shock yesterday. Me afterwards heard that he was ailing, but it was a shock. But that's all of that is on the front page, and on the back page of the Guardian, which of course is the sports page, the headline is USA comes up short. That's the headline. The cock, Rabada ensures South Africa victory. And, well, that's it.
Let me go to the, I was amending
The cock couldn't live in the Caribbean, you know.
And the news there front page is Trinidad and Tobago raised US $750 million on the international capital market. Labor leaders seek alliance with UNC, other parties. Roger lets unite against the PNM. Gonzales reservoirs empty despite heavy rains. Gonzales 9 new managers for WASA. Cummings government plans for the future. Cops seek in for murdered man. Actor singer Marlon the Bique dies. Non-energy sector drives growth, more jobs coming. Kamala, Labor gave workers rights. And PM Labor Day recognizes those who serve. So those are trending stories in the Express, Guardian, and Newsday for today, Thursday, the 20th of June, 2024.
That girl is real follow cricket. She liked the cock. But anyway, that name is too funny for the Caribbean. It's just like Kaka. When Kaka was, playing football for Brazil. Kaka is not a name that can work in Trinidad. I'm sorry. You're going to get all sorts of
iterations. All right, 6:52.
All right, let's get the results of our morning poll that we asked you on Tuesday. Should there be an independent panel to determine which attorneys are awarded silk in Trinidad and Tobago? That was our poll. 91%, 91 said yes.
We have to investigate that anomaly, yeah? Something strange happens overnight over the weekend. Anyway, my suggested question this morning, based on all we heard of the labor movement potentially joining with the UNC, is, do you think the labor movement joining with the UNC to contest the 2025 general election will be successful in unseating the PNM? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's a poll that will fire up the voters.
Yes, it will. All right. Good morning to Mars versus Venus. It's been a while indeed.
So the phone lines are open.
Yeah, 222-8255.
Joining with the UNC to contest the 2025 general election will be successful in unseating the PNM. That's our poll this morning. What do you think? We want to know. Call 222-TALK, 222-8255. North Americans, 866-525-1099. Absolutely toll-free. Of course, you can see the numbers on the ticker tape below. People on the streaming platforms, you can, of course, use the messaging portals there. And if you're listening to us on television or watching us actually on television on MeTV, up the Caribbean and in Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, if you are also listening to us on smart devices, you can WhatsApp us at 1-868-318-1021. Of course, if in Trinidad, it's just 318-1021.
All right, so let's get some votes going. Anyhow, Miguel says no. Karen Yiptow, no. Boy Bedesi, no. Wayne B, no. Keith Bissessa, no. Slick Money Grip, no. Trini B, no. CPT Singh, hell no. David Wes doing a show in, no. Michael Robinson in Yokohama, Japan, no. Cheryl Henry, no. Finbar Collins, no. Lester Craigwell, yes to the poll. What says you, caller?
Good morning, honey. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. Morning, darling.
Morning.
Good morning, Mrs. R.
Good morning, Sugar Pie. My answer is no. I hope you have a fantastic day, Mr. R.
Oh, you too.
See you for a while. Right.
As I shake my head. See you, Mrs. R. MS says no. On WhatsApp, Trevor Narima says no. Kathy Ann says no. Captain Ron says no. Michael out in the UK says no. I see some folks went and sprayed powder, orange powder on and oh gosh, what's it? It just went right out my mind. It'll come to me in a second. Emmanuel in Fort Lauderdale, Stonehenge, that's it. Emmanuel in Fort Lauderdale, no. Lenny James, no. Thank you so much for putting your names next to it. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Mi amor.
Buenos dias.
Morning, Zina.
Morning, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, mi amor. You too?
You too. Yeah.
Is yes you're voting for the poll?
Yes.
All right.
I'm saying no. No, that is anything new.
All right. Thanks, Zina.
Thank you.
All righty.
So do you think the labor movement joining with the UNC to contest the 2025 general elections will be successful in unseating the People's National Movement? That's our poll this morning.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Are you hearing me?
Yes, good morning. Yes or no?
I said no, but
all right. Thank you. Let's see. Jean Clark, no. Carol Guevara, no. Julia S. Batiste, no. Valerie Mendoza, my answer is no. Pearl Cordes, no. Richard Phillip, no. John Cato says no. Candace out in Atlanta, morning. Candace, no. Let's see. I have somebody said, not again, no to the poll. All right. Alistair Hart, please put your name next to your vote. Let's see. Cynthia Aaron, definitely no. Do you think the labor movement joining with the UNC to contest the 2025 general elections will be successful in unseating the People's National Movement? Yes or no?
So 222-TALK, 222-8255, North Americans, 866-525-1099. People on the streaming platforms, use the messaging portals there. You can also WhatsApp us at 318-1021. If you're outside of Trinidad and Tobago, add the area code 868. So 318-1021, that's the WhatsApp number. What says you? You know you have an opinion on this one. Do you think the labor movement joining with the UNC to contest the 2025 general elections will be successful in unseating the PNM? That's our poll this morning.
Kenwin says yes. Bobby, morning Bob, says yes. Alana Simmons, yes. Beauty Culture, no. Oscar Daniel, no. All right. As we have a couple of seconds before 7. Andre, good morning to you, Andre. No. All right. All right, keep voting. We, of course, our guest in the next hour will be former Speaker of the House, Nizam Mohammed. We'll chat with him a little bit. Andrew Reno says no, and Emma. Okay. All right. Let's get into our 7 o'clock major news. Evie is in.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
The PSA declares war on the People's National Movement, promising to vote them out at Labor Day celebrations. OWTU wants national debate with Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley and Energy Minister Stuart Young on Petrotrin refinery closure. The Public Utilities Minister describes claims the acting WASA CEO was being sent home as patently untrue, and late performer Marlon Bique recognized and praised by the Tourism Ministry for his contribution. Details in a moment. This is news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Sintilbab. Good morning. Public Services Association President Leroy Batiste declared war on the People's National Movement at Labor Day celebrations yesterday and said the union plans to work with the United National Congress to form a new government. Batiste asked the crowds gathered at Charlie King Junction, Faizabad, whether they agreed that they should engage the UNC in meaningful discussions and negotiations. Batiste accused the PNM of not engaging trade unions in negotiations and said the PSA could not negotiate with the government and it should start discussing plans with the next government. Batiste, who mounted the platform at the Labor Day rally to chance to vote them out from PSA members, noted that 2025 was right around the corner, and based on the attendance yesterday, they could make or break a government. Chants of Rowley must go followed his statement. There was some shocked reactions expressed in the crowd and on stage to the PSA leader's statements. The Oilfield Workers Trade Union is inviting Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley and Minister of Energy and Energy Industry Stuart Young to a national debate on the closure of the Petrotrin refinery, which took place on November 30th, 2018. OWTU President General Ansel Roger made the request while speaking during the Labor Day celebrations at Charlie King Junction on Wednesday. On Monday, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley met with Chairman of Jindal Steel and Power Limited at the Diplomatic Center Naveen Jindal. The office of the Prime Minister says Jindal Steel and Power is one of India's leading business houses with a substantial presence in steel, mining, power and infrastructure. Chairman Jindal's visit is a result of Prime Minister Rowley's recent trip to India, where he met with several business leaders and invited them to explore investment opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Jindal is interested in the potential of the Petrotrin refinery, and this subject formed part of the discussion at the meeting. However, Roger took note of the development, contending the OWTU still wants its input in the discussions moving forward.
Rowley is entertaining some Indian businessman. The Oilfields Workers Trade Union will not stand idly by and allow anybody to walk in here and take over that refinery. The fellow who said recently he's humbled because he got silk. We on one side and they on the other side. And the people of Trinidad and Tobago paying rapt attention. And we will show definitely how they had absolutely no reason to close Petrotrin.
Minister of Public Utilities Marvin Gonzalez has apologized to Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Water and Sewage Authority, Kelvin Romaine, following an inaccurate newspaper article published on Tuesday stating his tenure was being terminated. Gonzalez said claims that the acting CEO was being sent home was patently untrue. He apologized to Romaine for any embarrassment the newspaper's article may have caused and expressed the hope that the newspaper would take the opportunity to do the same. Romaine was appointed to act as WASA CEO in 2022 following the departure of Sherlyn Shepherd and pending the outcome of the WASA Board of Commissioners search for a new CEO to lead the company's transformation. The selection process is almost done and the appointment of a new WASA CEO is expected soon as part of a change in its senior leadership structure. The minister said he explained during an interview once a new CEO is named, Romaine would either revert to his substantive position or be reassigned to another leadership role within WASA. He said there was never any question of him being separated from WASA and it was irresponsible of the newspaper to come to such a conclusion. The Ministry of Tourism says it has recognized and praised the contributions of the late Marlon Bique for his contribution towards the modernization, stability, and efficient operations of Naparima Bowl. Tourism Minister Randall Mitchell says Mr. Bique was not simply a cultural and art enthusiast, he embodied it. It said Mr. Bique's efforts and achievements have created a lasting impact on the cultural fraternity. In November 2007, Mr. Bique joined the then Ministry of Community Development, Culture and the Arts as a cultural officer. He was instrumental in the implementation of the ministry's strategic plan, efforts towards the development of national festivals and the performing, visual and literary arts, and represented Trinidad and Tobago at various international events. Mr. Bique was appointed Chief Executive Officer of Naparima Bowl in March 2020 and executed his duties, it said, with devotion and a vision to propel the brand through stakeholder engagement. You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. The Ministry of Health head office will remain closed today following a ruptured pipeline which flooded several floors. It says while repairs to the ruptured line were completed, the continued closure is necessary to facilitate the inspection of all building systems so as to assure the safety and comfort of staff and visitors to the building. The ministry also apologized for any inconvenience the closure caused and assured the public it was working diligently with all stakeholders to resolve the issue as quickly as possible. Well, finally, here's weather news for the period today until midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, initially fair, hazy, and breezy conditions will gradually give way to partly cloudy skies accompanied by light to moderate showers. There's also the medium chance of the heavier shower or isolated thunderstorm developing in a few areas. Nighttime will be mostly settled despite the isolated shower. Gusty winds and street or flash flooding can occur near heavy downpours. A mild to moderate concentration of Sahara dust is present in the atmosphere. Sensitive persons are being advised to take the necessary precautions. Expect a temperature high this morning of 32 degrees Celsius at Bique International Airport and 31 degrees Celsius at Crown Point, Tobago. Currently, it is 27 degrees Celsius at both localities. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock, the PSA declares war on the People's National Movement, promising to vote them out at Labor Day celebrations. The OWTU wants a national debate with Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley and Energy Minister Stuart Young on Petrotrin refinery closure. The Public Utilities Minister declares or describes claims the acting WASA CEO was being sent home as patently untrue, and late performer Marlon Bique recognized and praised by the Tourism Ministry for his contribution. I'm Avril Sindilbab. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon today and an update at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All right. Thank you so much, Avril, for our major news. You could join her again. Come at 8 o'clock for our news brief. All right. All right. So let's get some more votes in.
Well, I guess he's talking to somebody.
Yeah, I'm talking to Mr. Mohammed. Yep. All right. Let's see if we have any more votes here. We got Jay Ragoobarsingh saying no. And we have Eve out in Chicago saying yes. Let's see. We have Cheryl Henry saying no. We have CJ New York saying no. We got Desmond saying absolutely no. Leonard Naipaul, it's been a while out in North Carolina.
The front show going on in the chat here.
Says no. Yeah, I know. Says no. Beefy Spit out in Goodwood, Tobago says no. Right. That's it. Right.
That's it?
That's it, Richie Rich.
You checked WhatsApp?
I did.
All right. So our poll this morning, do you think the labor movement joining the UNC to contest the 2025 general elections will be successful in unseating the People's National Movement, the PNM? We had 49 people voting on the poll this morning. And of the 49 people, 44 of you said no, you don't think they will be successful. But 5 of you said, yeah, you think they might be able to.
All right.
So 5 said yes, 44 said no. Of course, you can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day, through all programming, and we'll give you the final result tomorrow morning, which will be Friday.
Yep. Of course, it'll be on our website at power102fm.com or our mobile app. Just look for Power 102 on whatever platform, Android or iPhone. All right. Yes. Okay. So while we see if we have Mr. Mohammed, hopefully we'll get him on video. Feeling that we'll try on telephone. Yeah. All right. Traffic wise, where you think you're going to get traffic, you will get traffic. The Solo Uriah Butler Highway is not too bad. A little bit by Chase Village and heading by the Canny River, you've got some volume. Apart from that, that's it. San Fernando, east-west corridor. Main road is a bit congested, but at least it's moving. Right. Yeah. Okay. So while we get Mr. Mohammed online, we have some calls coming through, so I'll take them. Good morning. Good morning.
This country, and it's only in Trinidad I believe that could happen. When I hear the news there and listen to how that man from the PSA getting on, I'm asking a question this morning. Is that man legally placed in PSA? Because I saw workers against walking and calling and begging for them to have an election. And as far as I know, he was just placed there when Watson Duke left. So he should never be talking. CPO and the front arms of the government should never have entertained that gentleman. So I don't know how come you threatening government now. I mean, what really going on in this country? And that unions try already with that nonsense and joining up with it. They think they could come with that kind of story to beat the government? It's foolish people that think they're talking to out here or what? Nah, man, they have to not be serious. And
Zina?
your story, yes.
Sometimes you're so ambiguous about who you support. You must be a little more clear.
On what? Clear on who? On what?
And your love for me.
Yeah. I don't think that is ambiguous.
Sometimes that is, I don't be sure, so I want to be a little more forceful.
Nothing about you, Zina, is ambiguous.
You want more you want me to say now? What
Everything.
more do you want me to do? I'm missing Wendell on these.
I want you to say, Zina.
Yes.
I want you to say greatest poll. That's when I'm going to hear you love me.
And he shall prevail.
That's what I'm going to hear love me.
And you shall prevail.
And then I'll hear the song start to play. You know what song is that, right?
Yes.
You know what song is that?
I wonder which song. Am I
come in.
Oh, I don't know what's Paul.
Oh God, well that's
Paul.
Your mother is here.
That is the sweetest PNM tune. That one had Diana told us.
That's on your tune. That's on your tune, you know. Yes, we all that tune.
Yes. Oh yes. Oh God, I'm missing.
I don't know why you love that song. You love that song, but oh good.
Yeah.
When you like your name every 10 minutes outside your house, you only hear that big truck.
Not ever. No, well, when I campaign and I just have my
your short pants.
music
your short pants and your flag.
Music that had to blast.
Your short pants and your flag. I feel you like the lyrics though. I think it's you write them lyrics, you know.
How you know? How you know?
The melody song familiar.
I like it just like how I like all your polls this morning. That poll is a long poll.
How about this, you know?
Listen, I wanted to just weigh in on this silk story. What happened? This silk giving out now what happened is a dog show. So how people know now name and list and all that. I want to agree with Miss Henry. What happened? It reminds me of a certain person.
Who?
Gigi. Oh, go on.
Have a good day, Zina.
I want to say, thank you, Zina. I want to say happy anniversary again to my sister and her husband celebrating 31 years of marriage yesterday. And,
what? 31 years? Nyla, what?
Good for you.
31 years.
Big party. Yeah. Book that flight. We come in. We'll do the show from your living room.
So I want to again say happy anniversary, Nyla and Ron.
All right. Happy anniversary, Nyla. And Rob, you said?
Ron.
All right.
Now I'm sweating the yes.
All right. Let me call Mr. Nizam Mohammed.
You always know in this country, you know. The rhetoric is to the heat up.
Yeah. Of course,
On both
Juneteenth was
sides.
also yesterday, which is a holiday in a lot of states.
Not all.
Not all. Where my sister is, it was a holiday. It's a holiday in Pennsylvania.
Primarily, would it be correct to say the primarily blue states?
Probably.
Might be the blue states.
I'd say probably. It might be.
More than likely blue states.
All right. Well, gentlemen, online, I do have former Speaker of the House, Mr. Nizam Mohammed. Good morning.
Very good morning to you, sir.
Morning to you. Of course, welcome to the Power Breakfast Show. Of course, we have Richard Ragoobarsingh and Senator Paul Richards.
Good morning, Mr. Mohammed. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Mr. Mohammed.
Good morning to you, gentlemen, especially my dear friend, Mr. Ragoobar.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Mohammed.
You're
How are you this morning?
Really there, boy. So I am not your good friend. All right, I get it.
This man caught me a little bit unaware, so I'm still trying to catch my breath, but I'm okay. I think I am in a position to talk a little bit.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Well, you are emblazoned over a couple of the newspapers today in relation to this silk issue, where you have indicated that you will not humiliate yourself or ever reapply to become a senior counselor. Mr. Mohammed, for all our clarity's sake, can you walk us through the process where someone applies and is either accepted or not accepted to be a senator still, please?
You have to speak up a little bit for me, because...
Oh, sorry. Can you walk us through the process for application for silk and what usually happens in that process that you know of?
All right. In the days when silk had all its value and it meant very much to the overall system of justice, someone within the profession was invited to apply for silk. So that when you were invited to apply and you agreed that you made your application for silk, it was a guaranteed situation for the applicants. That changed, and what we do now, we have put the granting of silk in the open marketplace. And a lot of secrecy takes place. We don't know. And you are invited via the Gazette to apply for silk, and the Attorney General is the individual who is in charge of carrying the process forward. What we understand is that when he collects these applications, then he would consult with others, the Chief Justice, the Law Association, and I don't know who else. The Prime Minister has made it abundantly clear that he is not involved in the process. If I interpret what he said in Parliament last Friday correctly. And then the final list is given to the Prime Minister by the Attorney General, delivered from the Attorney General to the Prime Minister for onward transmission to Her Excellency the President, and she will take it from there. So that is how that is how we understand the process. I do not know if there are others who are called in for consultation, but I know it is the Chief Justice and the Law Association. A prominent organization like the Criminal Bar Association, they are not consulted.
Now, so clearly you applied. Is this the first time you applied?
No, this is not the first time I applied. I applied in 2011. And that on that occasion, I was serving as the chairman of the Police Service Commission. And because of a false headline in a newspaper, I was fired from that position. But before I was fired, I had a phone call from the then Attorney General, Anand Ram Logan. He told me that my name was on the top of the list for the grant of silk, award of silk, and if I did not resign my position as chairman of the Police Service Commission, and I gave the then Prime Minister the trouble of having to seek my termination, he will scratch my name off the list. So I told him, you can do what you wish to do. I am simply not vacating my position.
Yeah, you're not resigning.
The rest is history. That is, the Prime Minister, on her initiative, the then President wrongly dismissed me. Before he did that, he was advised by his lawyer, then the incumbent Attorney General today, Mr. Reginald Armour, and I challenged that decision in the court. And in those days, everybody is saying you cannot challenge a decision of the president in court. I did that. It was the one and the only time, and I succeeded, and I cleared my name. The dismissal was wrong and improper. So that was the first time that I applied. My name was scratched off. Now, I applied again for a second time, and two lists came to my attention, one emanating from the judiciary and one coming from the Law Association. And both names had my name at the very top of it. And I'm not the only one who received those lists. Those lists were widely circulated. And the next thing I know, sorry, go ahead.
Now, Mr. Mohammed, I saw more than two lists over the weekend, including your name, but the list did not have ascribed to them ownership by the Law Association and or the judiciary. Did the list you see have those insignias or endorsement by those bodies?
I saw no endorsements by anybody. I saw a list. And what I'm saying is that it was in the possession of people in the judiciary and the Law Association. The Law Association represents, among other things, the interests of the attorneys, and if they have a role to play in a matter like this, by now they should have cleared the air concerning that list. They cannot deny.
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to find out because when the newspaper this morning reported, quoting you as saying these lists came from the Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago and came from the judiciary. I saw the list with your name on it, more than two actually, but I did not see them being taking ownership by these entities, and that was my confusion.
Nor have you seen any denial by them that they were in possession of those lists.
True.
And this fact has been widely circulated.
Now, one of the articles also quotes you as saying, the article says, I should say, didn't quote you as saying, that information was that President's House was informed on Sunday that those lists were incomplete. Did you contact President's House, or is this a newspaper doing their own due diligence?
I never contacted President's House.
Yeah, okay. So I guess this is a newspaper doing their due diligence.
I beg your pardon?
So I guess this is a newspaper doing their own due diligence.
Well, I would expect that. I can tell you that journalists were also in possession of those lists that I am talking about.
Absolutely. Now, at what point did you realize that you would not be included in those going forward to be conferred silk?
On Sunday, when I did not receive a call from President's house, I realized that something had gone amiss. And especially when information got to me that President's house was told that there were some additional names, I was hoping that my name would be one of those names. You have to remember that I am the most senior person who had applied for silk. I have served at the bar for 50 years. This year was 50 years. I have not only served at the bar as a lawyer, I have served in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, presiding over the process of making the laws for 5 years. I was number 5 in the order of precedence in Trinidad and Tobago, following the President, the Prime Minister, the Chief Justice, and the President of the Senate. And I was there making laws and arguing about representing people in the Parliament as their representative for 15 years. And people describe Parliament as the highest court in the land. So above all the other applicants, I served in a court which is described as the highest court in the land for 15 of those 50 years, representing people and seeking justice for and on behalf of people, not only within the confines of the 4 walls of a courtroom, but all over the place. Anything that had to do with justice and injustice concerning the man in the street, Nizam Mohammed was there, voicing fearlessly and faithfully on their behalf, fighting for them. And I've done that all my life, in and out of the Parliament, in and out of the courts of Trinidad and Tobago. And today, we have a system that is so riddled with irregularities that they have not included me in the list, and they are refusing to give reasons why they have not included me, and given and awarded silk to students whom I lectured to at the Hewing Law School as a part-time lecturer there. Try and understand that my entire life I've used my profession to seek justice and to lay the foundation for justice in every aspect of the life of Trinidad and Tobago. And why is this happening at a time like this when everything around us seems to be falling apart? Someone needs to stand up and let the country know what is happening. So it is the first time I told you that my name was scratched off, and since my name was on another list, verified by journalists, came into the possession of the journalist, my name was scratched off a second time, and I think that the Attorney General, who is in charge of the process, he is under an obligation and he is accountable to the public. We are not working for him, he is working for us. And he must tell us, if my name was left out, why was it left out? If there was an objection and my name was removed, who made that objection and why was it removed? That is the kind of transparency we need in this matter.
Mr. Mohammed,
is that unreasonable?
It's not unreasonable, but if it is that the process had to change to be more transparent, what kind of process would you like to see?
I would like to see a committee comprised of individuals with integrity set up and get the politicians out of it and stop making the award of silk so politically biased.
Well, that was our poll on Tuesday. Our poll on Tuesday said, should there be an independent panel to determine which attorneys are awarded silk? And majority, 91 had said yes, 91%.
Yes, when I say so, an independent body, as your poll indicated, it seems that what has transpired and the level at which it has transpired, where in Trinidad and Tobago are we going to find people of integrity? Because this, what the Attorney General has done, he has implicated the judiciary, he has implicated the Law Association, he has implicated the cabinet, because he's the man in charge and accountable. Where did the racket come in to deprive me of something that I need not for myself? I am a member of the Constitution Review Committee. We are working extremely hard. I am mindful of the fact that there is a great deal of disinterestedness in constitutional reform. And I am convinced that the only way we can move forward in this country is to review our constitution and give our country a chance to get out of the crime situation and all of the maladministration is taking place in every direction at governmental level. This is the only way. Constitution is the only way. I want to go out there. If God gives me the strength and the wherewithal to tell the people, put aside our parties and political allegiances and so on, and let us get together as a people and let we, the people, produce a constitution. Don't leave it up to any political party. It will never work if you leave it up to a political party. Always remember that the politicians do not want constitutional change. And the reason why they do not want constitutional change is that the present system is working for the politicians.
Mr. Mohammed, you sound very pained by this. Would that be a correct interpretation?
Pained. I am very pained about this because there is blatant wrongdoing by the people in the highest office. I quoted in the newspaper that the stench emanating from the upper chambers of the people responsible for this process is most discomforting. So painful is just as discomforting. And I make no pretense about it.
No, a couple of people have made comments in the public domain, and I don't even know if it's material, but I'll ask it anyway. The criteria that I see being quoted in the newspapers includes attorneys applying for silk are expected to be leaders in the profession, have sound intellectual ability, up-to-date knowledge on the law in their fields, and outstanding ability to be an advocate in the higher courts, gain the respect of judges and other lawyers, professional integrity, maturity of judgment, and at least 10 years experience. You seem to qualify for all of those. One of the newspapers had a poll and they were asking if the person practices or not. Is that material in your case?
If quoted as what?
No, one of the newspapers was recently, or the online outlets were saying if the person practices or not. Is that a material consideration or not?
Whether they practice or not?
Whether they're still practicing or not.
That is material, and I am practicing.
Well, that clears up that.
The law.
One of the newspapers also says that you are going to, you may be planning to file a Freedom of Information application. Is that correct?
They asked me that, and I said that might possibly be an option. I have not considered it, but that might be an option. You see, what I'm trying to make public is this is not a personal matter. I don't care for it. I needed it because of a particular assignment that I have undertaken, and I have certain plans if the administration, the powers that be, allow me to continue. After we have submitted our report, I intend to go there and explain to people the importance of people getting involved in the process of the production of a reviewed constitution. So this is not a personal thing. I don't need this. In 2011, when I did it, because I thought it was obvious that I had filled all the criteria for being awarded silk. Silk is just a symbol of achievement in your profession. When I was trained in the United Kingdom. I came out of training as an attorney, seeing that law and seeking justice must not be only in the courts of law. There are people on the streets there in the marketplace, all over the place. Ask Mr. Richard Ragoobarsingh. There was a time when I was the #1 lawyer in San Fernando doing murder cases, and I have done over 100 in my time of active practice. And I was the top attorney in San Fernando taking briefs for murders, defending people for murders and people who could not have paid. And you know how much was the fee that the legal aid paid in those days? I think it was about $5,000 for a 3-week and a 6-week and a 6-week murder trial that would go to the Court of Appeal, and I will follow it to the Court of Appeal. Representing people. You give your life to your profession because justice is something that is akin to righteousness. If there is no justice, there is no righteousness. And if there is no righteousness, then there is no society. So that this is not a personal matter, it is a matter of principle. And so far I have had some exposure in the media, and it is only the media that is pushing this. The law association that represents the interests of its members, they are there for their personal benefits, and I say it publicly. Tell your people who are organizing your show there now, tell them to call Lynette Sibaran and get her on the phone. She will not answer. She is too busy, and she is the president of the Law Association, and she carries that title. Has she said anything on this matter? This thing is widely publicized. And where is the voice of the Law Association?
So you think the Law Association and, I guess by extension, the judiciary need to make public statements on this issue?
But this is why I am saying that the Attorney General has compromised so many institutions, including our judiciary, because they consult with the Chief Justice. They consult with the Chief Justice. Do you know something? We had a jurist, an eminent jurist, Justice Cameron, from South Africa, here on Tuesday night, delivering a lecture related to the Constitution and so on. And we, as the committee, we had done a virtual meeting with him, and we consulted with him concerning our assignment that we have gotten. And I was invited to that lecture, which was going to be followed by a reception at the Hall of Justice on Tuesday. I am a human being. Do you expect me to go and attend to something like that and thereafter go to that cocktail party, that reception, and face grin teeth and skinning their faces as if all is hunky-dory? That is hypocrisy. I refuse to go because I am not that kind of hypocrite. So this is where this matter has reached. They are compromising the institutions in the country, and they are not responding to something that is bothering a lot of people. Because I understand that, you know, the matter is being discussed at so many different levels in our country.
Will this impact in any way your continued involvement in the constitution reform?
Not at all. No, not at all. My colleagues in that Constitution Committee, they have worked too hard to bring it to where it is, and we are wrapping up right now. And I wouldn't do such a thing or cause such a thing. As I say, I stand by what we are going to present, God willing, eventually within the next couple of weeks or so. And after that, I would want to have my say in trying to encourage people to get involved and help them to understand the importance of having the Constitution reviewed.
Mr. Mohammed, is there anything you would like to add in closing?
Except to thank you all and to ask you to keep this particular matter on the front burner. If we are to have some level of accountability and clarification regarding what has taken place. Understand, when we look at what happened on the last occasion, and you look at what has happened on this occasion, the inbreeding within the legal fraternity is growing stronger and stronger and stronger. And when you have that sort of inclination, it spells, I would say, big trouble for our judicial system. We've got to clean it up. We've got to stop the favoritism. We've got to stop the blatant politics. We've got to stop the partisanship that they have brought the justice system, that have brought the justice system into disrepute at the moment. And it is going to get worse if these matters are not cleared up. My final point is this: I do not need silk for my personal benefit, and I will never apply again. If they reconsider and they accept their wrongdoing, I am willing to go along and bring peace and to bring an end to this matter with the hope that there will be a new beginning. That is my position. And thank you very much for asking me to be on your program.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed, and thanks for joining us this morning.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, all the best. You have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. All right. Of course, that was
a story that just
Nizam Mohammed.
Yeah.
Was that Paul? Sorry.
It's a story that just keeps on giving.
I was wondering whether he was going to make a FYA request concerning the process, because you can, I guess, and see what happens.
And the Attorney General can just say, if it's directed to him, it's considered by the Attorney General in collaboration with XYZ, the normal policy statement, and leave it there.
Well, you could ask why. Well, it depends on what you ask. Because you might be in an FYA request, you can ask specifically what information you want. And the
Yes,
body,
and you can ask if his name was originally on those lists, and if those lists, because we still don't know, and he's right, the Judiciary and Law Association should either acknowledge or debunk whether those lists came from them, because none of those lists I saw had any signature indicating that they came from those bodies. They were just a lot of lists floating around.
Yeah.
So we don't know if someone type up a list and send it out and says the Law Association or the Judiciary. You understand? So we don't know. So, and I saw about 4 different lists, 4 or 5 different iterations of lists. So anyway, phone lines are open.
Yeah, we can all map the lines at this point. So 222 talk 222-8255, North Americans 866-525-1099. That's it for North Americans. And of course, you can also send your messages. But we prefer calls at this point as we head towards 8 a.m. on this Thursday morning.
Mm-hmm.
So 222 talk 222-8255, and North Americans 866-525-1099. The lines are now open.
All right. So we have a lot of calls coming through already. So good morning to you.
Morning,
Good morning.
gentlemen.
Good morning.
Morning.
You know, I don't understand how Nizam could. I wouldn't even respond to my name being taken off in the first place. You know, I want to know how did this get to see that list? You all could tell me how a nominee gets to see. Because Gigi said, Gary Griffith said he saw his name at the top of the list for the COP. And I'm saying, it have somebody leaking information in these offices. Oh, look at the hurt and the pain. Now they say, what you don't see, don't grieve, right? But there it is. He saw his name, and it was white. Oh my God, this is ridiculous, ridiculous. Richard,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to ask you something. When somebody, let's say you have a client is a state witness, and the person reneges, they say they're not testifying again. What is the next step with that person who, because they might have been involved with the crime, and they decide to turn a state witness, and then they turn and they say, I'm not testifying again. What happens? I want to hear your legal. Yeah.
I mean, they could be treated as a hostile witness, one, or they could be or if it was an agreement, the state could say that, okay, we're in breach of the agreement, so now we can prosecute you, I guess, and depending on what it is.
That is what I keep asking. How you could be a state witness.
It depends. A lot of it is going to depend on the prosecution, which will be the DPP, in how the lens through which they see the situation, and how successfully you can prove beyond reasonable doubt that the accused, or accused meaning it could be a group of people or one, committed the act. Remember, that is always the fundamental bar that criminal cases rest on, beyond reasonable doubt. So in analyzing the case, the DPP would look at it and say, well, am I going to meet this bar regardless of this person's testimony or whatever their input has been, or am I not going to meet that bar?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Clearing it. Thank you. You all have a blessed.
All right. All the best to you. Good morning, caller. Good morning.
Hey, morning, Richard Ragoobarsingh for Richard Steve. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Patrick.
I listened to the ex-speaker of the House, because I know Mr. Nizam Mohammed was a speaker of the House for many years.
Yeah.
And from what I listened, like somebody victimizing Mr. Nizam Mohammed. Because I think I did hear somewhere in the news where Mr. Nizam Mohammed was to be a recipient of silk too.
You know the first thing we need to do, Mr. Patrick, because all these lists have not been verified as authentic. And that's why I asked the question. A list without an signature or a signature from the supposed body is just something that could be typed up. So people keep talking about these lists with these names on it as if they have been authenticated.
So then who leak out this list? That was leaked somewhere then for people just to print out a list willy-nilly about.
Well, you live in a small island state.
People do that normal.
Yeah, people will leak stuff. People leak stuff all the time in this country.
But even using the word leak suggests there's some level of authenticity we don't know.
There was some level of authenticity, Paul, because many of the names did become silk.
And some did not.
Yeah, so there was a certain level of authenticity to the list.
Yeah, because
and all of the names were people who applied.
Was, you know, the man had been victimized, and he said, "I did the second time." So I don't know who was the Attorney General the first time, and the Prime Minister the first time.
Yeah.
No, what he did explain the first time in 2011. He did go through the process there. He said it was, he went through that his name was scratched off because he didn't want to resign as the head of the Police Service Commission.
So because his name was scratched off, like somebody scratched off his name every time, do
But you didn't hear the interview. That's what he said. He said, Anand Ram, the Attorney General at the time told him to resign from that position or he'll be fired. And if he was fired, he would not get senior counsel. That's what he said.
Good morning.
I mean, I don't know true this, but that's what he said.
Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
I would like to know from the judiciary and all the lawyers in this country, especially the so-called top one, why Mr. Nizam Mohammed was not appointed as senior counsel. It happened under the last administration. It happened under this one. Justice is as dirty as how the Hall of Justice look. Mr. Mohammed was the fairest speaker this country ever had. Why Mr. Mohammed was not appointed, I would like to know.
That's a question.
Right.
Thank you.
We can't answer that on this show.
No.
We could just ask, interview the people involved, but we can't answer that question.
All right. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning again. Well, now that I've heard Mr. Mohammed, he has just cause to be aggrieved. But what I'm saying is, according to you, Paul, where all these lists come from, who, even if people they said there's a process you have to apply, well, who compiled these lists? And if you apply, there must be a panel that has to discuss, well, who would get and who wouldn't get, or who qualify or who doesn't qualify. And I think he should have dealt with this matter since that time that it happened, what he explained there, with the Attorney General that took his name off and knew why the former Prime Minister didn't dismiss him and all that. He should have dealt with that issue there and then. But I cannot understand why you will have 3 and 4 and 5 lists. Who is responsible for compiling lists? Not any and everybody could just make up a list of names and say, well, these are
Zina, anybody could go on the computer, type on this and put it in the public domain as some kind of book list. Anybody could do that.
Paul, that is mischief.
And since when there's a strange thing in this country?
Well, I think that needs to be cleared up. Because if you
obviously those lists emanated from somebody who had the information, because you have to apply to be senior counsel.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
You could only pull a list from the applications. So it has to be somebody who has seen the applications.
You see, this country, too many people, and in high places too. that when they create this kind of mischief, nothing happens. So they could continue to do it. I could understand Mr. Mohammed's case, and he has a great case, and he should put the question to them and have it cleared up. Because this is mischief in high places as far as I look at it. Thank you.
All right, Zena. Thank you so much. All right.
Yeah, so we're still taking your calls as we are towards 8 a.m. We have a couple of minutes left.
We have 2 minutes again.
On the Power Breakfast Show this morning. So
Beauty
222
culture.
talk, 222-8255, North Americans, 866-525-1090.
None of the lists I saw had any in signature or any ownership on them. None of them. It was just list the names.
Do you agree with Nizam Mohammed, Paul, that the Law Association and the judiciary should say something?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I agree with that.
To remove themselves from any to remove any doubt and bring some transparency. Because people are attributing the list to them and they're important institutions.
Mm-hmm.
A simple statement, those lists did not emanate from us. That is it. And you know that they put the word officially to confuse the whole thing. So it could have unofficially emanate from us as opposed to officially. It did not officially emanate from us.
Good morning, caller.
I know they're both institutions that understand the power of words.
Exactly. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Richard, Paul, Steve, good morning.
Good morning.
Wendell here.
Who's this? Sorry, caller.
It is Wendell. I had to call in because I listened to a very hurt, aggrieved man, justifiably so, a while ago with you all. And I want to agree with Zena that this matter really should have been fleshed out and made public and made aware since 2011 when he related that story. Because that's the first time I'm hearing that story. I don't know if you guys heard it before.
Never heard it before.
Yeah, that's the first time I'm hearing that particular incident that affected Nizam Mohammed. So yes, I agree. What I want to ask though, I don't know if you all asked it because I stepped away from the television for a brief moment. Of all the lists that came on, and I think it was about 3, is it that his was the only name removed from any of them at the end of the day? Is it that all the other names that showed up on these various lists eventually got silk?
I'll go back and check them. Let me check them now.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I have no clue because I have no clue, and because I got no lists.
Yeah.
I have the pink phone.
You have the pink phone. Gentlemen, this free Friday. For those in North America, at 4:50 this afternoon, we first day of summer. Expect some heat in some parts and thunderstorm in another.
Yeah. Somebody sent me a ticket to go to New York.
One of the list is 15 people.
Somebody sent me a ticket to go to New York.
Ready?
Yeah.
Which did not include Mr. Mohammed.
It's only his name?
Faris, Asgarali Reagan, Dilabastid Michael Simon, Delzin Gregory, Junarine Prakash, Elaine Green, Lee Mary, Morgan Mark. Did Morgan Mark get silk?
I can't remember.
Nanga Ravindra, Justin Phelps, Winston Sinath, Haseen Sheikh, Anthony Smart, Annabelle Suklal, and Stuart Young. But most of them, I think, got silk. If not all, on that list. There were some lists that I got earlier that had 10 people, and some lists that had 11 people. So not all had all the people. The list evolved.
How many eventually got silk? Wasn't it 13?
I think it's 15. I think it's 15. You all have a great day. Be safe out there. God willing, we'll check you out tomorrow morning, Friday. Right?
No, it's 13 people, Paul, not 15.
The one I have.
The President's House confirms 13 attorneys to get silk.
Okay, well then, somebody on the list wasn't there then.
Well, anyway, let me hush. Let me not get into that list back and people out of that.
Right. Have a good one.
let me stay in my lane. So you know what? Trinidad and Tobago, have a fantastic day. And of course, our listeners around the planet, wherever you are, have a fantastic day today. And we'll speak to you back early tomorrow morning. And remember to smile and laugh. It's good for your health. Have a great one.
All right. Thank you so much, Richie Rich. All right. Let's get into our news brief read by our anchor, Paul Richards.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
All right, Paul is supposed to read our news update. I guess it slipped.